Welcome to this June 7th edition of What's Happening in Crypto, broadcasting to you from New Zealand and bringing you all of the latest. Bitcoin, $7,663, up 4% in the last 7 days. First big story of the day, Chinese central bank develops blockchain system to digitize paper checks. I find this story incredibly surprising because somebody still uses paper checks except for my dad? This is crazy. Bringing it to the blockchain, I guess, could be a thing. Interesting though. Over in Korea, Korea's reverse ICO fad seems to be gaining permanency. The reverse ICO is essentially when you have an existing business which tokenizes itself in order to gain extra liquidity or offer some kind of new service to a customer. Of course, we're seeing a bit more of that coming in with the ICO space overall. It's not just a Korea thing, although the Koreans seem to be very interested in the model. We do see a lot of existing companies coming in and raising money for their business so they can keep their business going or grow their business in a new direction. It's not all about startups, even though most of the ICO industry is about startup businesses. Japan set to finally reject an exchange. So one of the many exchanges that they have been looking into has not met their standards. And so they have been denied. You're denied, man. No exchange for you. Not in Japan, anyway. I hear Malta's open for business. Huobi offering $166 million in funding to fuel a new blockchain. So this will be the Huobi blockchain. I feel like for $166 million, you can make a pretty decent blockchain. You look at the bootstrapping that some other organizations do, and they can create a blockchain with only $20 or $30 million. $166 million seems sufficient, in my opinion. Speaking of exchanges, and the exchange wars, I think, are definitely heating up between some of the top exchanges, vying to add in top features and more usability, more portability, attract more customers. Binance setting up its bank account in Malta. Now, we knew that Binance was moving to Malta. That's no big surprise. However, the intriguing thing here is that bank account may very well give Binance the open doors to start accepting fiat, which I know for a lot of people who use Binance, this has been a pain point because you have to go to Coinbase, for example, and buy Bitcoin and then send it over to buy your altcoins on Binance. This would be a big step forward for them. Investment firm Van Eck attempts the new Bitcoin ETF filing aimed at institutional players. Now, the exchange-traded funds, or the ETF, has been a big goal of a lot of different investment firms and exchanges for quite a while. Let's see if they can be the ones to finally get it out there. But it's coming. It's just a question of who and when. We'll keep watching that space. The SEC's Clayton. He says, come see us if you want to do an ICO. A few interesting statements came out from him here. If you have an ICO or a stock and you want to sell it in a private placement, follow the private placement rules. If you want to do any IPO with a token, come see us, and we would be happy to help you do that public offering. This is really interesting because on the one hand, I want the SEC to have really nothing to do with this because the whole thing's absurd, them trying to protect people from investments when all this other crazy BS is going on. But at the same time, you can't deny the reality that the SEC is denying the ability for American citizens to invest in ICOs. Well, it's not necessarily that they're denying, but a lot of ICOs don't want to deal with that regulatory headache that the SEC offers. Now, if they can offer this and say, Come, we'll work with you. We will help you put together a public offering. That could be pretty powerful. In an interview with CNBC, he makes a few farther statements, basically saying that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, for example, Litecoin, even though he didn't specifically mention Litecoin, they're not securities. He said that's very clear to us. Bitcoin is not a security. We're not worried about that. But when you have a company and you're raising money, issuing tokens that will have a potential future return, he says, we regulate that. That's what we do. That's our business. And you can either try and avoid that or you can come work with us. I feel like this is a positive move, even though I would just prefer the whole thing not to exist in the first place. But since it does exist, at least we can have some kind of positive outcome from it. Speaking of crazy things, a 64-year-old put his life savings in his carry-on and it was stolen from him. Civil asset forfeitures in America, this is theft by cop or theft by customs patrols. Essentially, you're not allowed to carry cash. Any large amounts of cash are suspicious. And this is definitely a law designed to crack down on your average Joe more than the big criminals, because the reality is the big criminals are all working with the banks, and the amount of times that the big banks have been caught money laundering for cartels and sanctioned countries and all this stuff that they do, that's okay. Those are the guys who are really laundering the money and are really doing suspicious things with it. An old Albanian grandpa taking a suitcase, it was only $60,000. It's not a crazy amount of money. It's enough money without a doubt, but I don't think he was going off to start a criminal empire with that 60 grand. The interesting thing, though, is that now in the United States, in 2017, federal authorities seized more than $2 billion in assets from people. That makes it the equivalent of all residential burglaries in the United States. So you are just as likely to have your house burgled as you are to have your money stolen by the cops. That's a pretty crazy equation when you think about it. Now, why am I bringing up this story? Because I have a solution for Albanian grandpa here that would have helped him so much if he had just bought Bitcoin, got on the plane, got to Albania, and pulled the Bitcoin out and sold it. He would have had no problems at all, because they would have had no idea that he actually had the Bitcoin. This is, of course, a massive solution for these kind of situations. If you're driving in the US and you want to go and buy a car, you should probably do it with Bitcoin. Or if you're worried about someone looking in on that public blockchain, use PIVX, use Monero, use Zcash. Private, man. No one knows. On to our next story. CoinMint dropping $700 million. That's serious cash into a New York mining center. Wow, that's a lot. This is going to make it one of the world's biggest mining centers. And interesting development for, I guess, New York State to be welcoming in such a gigantic mining firm. But wow, again, mining war is heating up too, with the recent announcement by GMO that they've got their 24 terahash Bitcoin miner coming. Real competition for not only the Avalon miner, but really for Bitmain, who has had such a monopoly on the market for such a long time. Welcome developments, all, of course, to see the actual decentralization of the centers of power for Bitcoin mining, because too much of it's been happening in China, for example. Great to see more of it coming to the US. Bitcoin Gold to implement a new proof-of-work algorithm preventing future 51% attacks. We just talked to the guys from Zencash yesterday and what they were doing to prevent future attacks on their blockchain. The guys over at Bitcoin Gold have gone a next step, and they have made Equihash BTG in order to hopefully try and mitigate future proof-of-work attacks. Although, I think with the proof-of-work system, the bad actors will continue to try and find a way, because it's what they do. Origin Protocol looking to bring scooters and reputation to the blockchain. Wow. This is their pilot program partnership, and they're going to be partnering up with a leading scooter sharing company. That's kind of cool. I got to admit scooters are cool, and obviously if you're visiting San Francisco or visiting LA, for example, take a scooter for the day. Why not? It'd be fun. You don't actually have to own the scooter, and this is a nice use for the Origin protocol, and kind of a cool and fun partnership as well. Pixio Chain. They're finally going to be distributing their tokens. Yes. Yes, we've been waiting, Pixio Chain. And final story for you for today. This woman made a business out of hooking up cryptocurrency holders with yachts and $4 million cars. Now she's launching a currency named after herself. Because why not? Why not? Just make a currency and just call it after you. Lark coin, John coin, Bob coin, Sally coin. Anyway, that's not the point of why I wanted to mention this article. Actually, I wanted to just take a step out with Lark for a moment and just think about what is the point of doing all of this? What do you actually want at the end of the day? The $4 million cars? That's obscene. It really is. When you think about all the things happening in the world, get yourself a car. You shouldn't have to suffer. I agree with that. You can buy a really nice car for $50, $60, $70, $80,000. It doesn't have to be a $4 million car. When it gets to that point, it's really just this kind of immature moon Lambo culture BS that doesn't really make the world a better place, doesn't push anyone forward. For $4 million, imagine if you bought a $100,000 car. That's an expensive enough car without a doubt. You could spend the other $3.9 million on making the world a freaking better place. Fund your local school. Buy some sheets for your local hospice. Save orangutans in Indonesia. You can do something really positive with that money instead of just trying to boost up your own ego by getting a Lamborghini or whatever it might be. And look, if you are a massive car aficionado, well, perhaps that is your thing, but things at the end of the day are not what make life amazing. Things are just things. They're tools. A car is a tool to get you from point A to point B, is not an extension or an enlarger of your Johnson. No, it does not quite work like that, as we all know. So those are just my thoughts on it, guys. You'll let me know, what is your goal for cryptocurrencies? What is your goal in investing? Is it all to get a sweet Lamborghini? Or do you have something more in mind? Helping the people in your lives, helping your community, making the world a better place. Moon Lambo. No, okay. And finally, we have some t-shirts to give away, guys. We're giving away some Lisk t-shirts today. There are specific sizes, so I didn't see as many people applying for this. Let's see if we get it right here. All kinds of interesting. Some weird comments we're going through here first. Lisk shirts. Oh, here we go. We got one. We got a winner. Renal put me in for those Lisk shirts. Renal, you are the winner today, my friend. Congratulations. I have got up for our next t-shirt giveaway, so I'll be doing this drawing tomorrow with the Litecoin giveaway from last week. So we got 2 giveaways in tomorrow's show. I have got a Publica t-shirt, men's, large. So if you want to be in to win that, pop a comment down below saying something like, Publica me up, or I'm in for the t-shirt, Lark. Thanks so much for watching the video. Let me know what you think about any of today's news stories in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Join me over on Twitter, where I share farther insights into what's happening in the crypto space. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.